Welcome back, everyone. Today we have Sean McManus on the call. He is the founder of McManus Strength and Nutrition. He specializes in self-confidence and building self-confidence, especially for Christian men. And today we're going to be talking quite a bit about building that, as well as what it means to get into routines, habits, and some other things too around that. So stay tuned. Sean, it's a pleasure to have you on today.
Phil, thank you, my man. I'm looking forward to being here and looking forward to what we're diving into today.
Excellent. Let's get to it. Yeah, no, I actually came across that question asking, how are you really, or how are you actually? Just because it pulls open another layer. It's that pause, because we have that certain routine in our head. How are you? It's a greeting. And it's like, oh yeah, quickly respond. Good. We're fine. So it's fascinating to see when you can, if there's somebody you know you can connect a little bit more, want to try. Because I do always say try. How are you really? How are you actually? Just causes a little break into that routine of saying good. Yeah,
I'm with you. And it forces that, it lets the other person know that you actually genuinely care. It's like, hey, I'm not just telling you hello. I genuinely care about your soul and like where you are mentally. And I'm like you, like I've kind of, not only have I made it a point to try to have that, like, hey bro, how are you actually doing? A little bit deeper level, but I've also tried to implement in my own life. Like when somebody asks me how I am, I try to be genuine with them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually not good, but I'll be okay. Or, you know, if it's someone that I feel like I can trust, or if it's someone that I'm close to, it's like, you know what, I'm actually stressed today. I'm actually a little overwhelmed today. You know, I'm actually having a hard time, or today's freaking awesome. Like bringing another level of like, this is not just a greeting. And I have to catch myself, like even thinking through it now, like how many times, like now I'm thinking about it, how many times did I tell someone I'm good or fine, like lately, and I'm, you know, just didn't think anything of it, because it's like you said, it's another step that we have to actually catch. But that genuine connection is important, and we don't have enough of that going on right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I think you mentioned some of those important as well, is sometimes you have to bring the initiation in with that too. Bring open your own vulnerability. Say, even if you do get just asked, how are you? Well, actually, I'm this. So using, well, really, I'm this. And it can invite, it's basically an invitation that you just gave them too. Not just your own response of, man, actually, I'm just feeling a little down today. I'm feeling a little hardened because this is happening. It's just a nice invitation if they want to share too.
Yes.
So yeah.
And you're
important.
Inviting them into that, like that deeper level of connection too, because you're also giving them the invitation of like, does this person actually care how I am? Are they going to take the next level and go, wait a minute, what's happening? What's going on? Or is it just going to be like, oh bro, sorry about that, I'm good. And then they move on, because that's an invitation as well. Yeah.
And man, what a confident statement to make to somebody too, if you're able to take that step.
100%. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And to me, that shows a bit of own self-worth to open, a bit of own self-confidence. And I know something more that you're specializing in with that. I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more into that state, what it means.
Yeah. So, you know, the work that I do with Christian men and the work that I've had to do in myself, I've just noticed this pattern with me, and then also with a lot of other men as well. We almost lack a feeling of self-worth. And a lot of the times I think that comes from feeling like our only job and our only obligation is to serve those around us. And especially, you know, in Christian culture, you are told over and over and over again to serve those around you, serve those around you, serve those around you. And that is good. And it's a thing that we need to do. And it's a thing that we're obligated to do. But what I see get left out so much is we stop there in terms of like, go serve other people. And we get this misconstrued idea of like, okay, if I'm not serving others, then I'm not doing what I need to do. So that gets turned into, I can't do anything for me because I'm not important. So we get like this flip of like, okay, I'm only supposed to serve other people, but we don't follow that with, yes, you're supposed to serve other people. It's important. And also you want to make sure you do that from a place of abundance. And in order to do that from a place of abundance, you have to take good care of yourself. You have to make sure that your cup is getting filled back up. You have to make sure that you're doing things that you enjoy. You have to make sure that you're sharing your opinions when they need to be shared. You have to make sure that inside of you, inside your brain and inside your heart, you remember that you matter. So when we talk self-confidence, that's where I see a lot of it go away. Like we've adopted this servant heart, which is in and of itself a good thing, but we've taken it too far in terms of like, I am only allowed to serve other people and anything I do for me is selfish. And that is completely untrue and unbiblical. We talk about, talking about this from a Christian perspective. We have the verse in the Bible where Jesus is talking about the most important commandment, to love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. The second greatest commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. So this little word as is the one that we miss. So we as Christians, we read that, we go, oh, I'm supposed to love my neighbor really well. Yes, you are supposed to love your neighbor really well. And you're supposed to love him as you love yourself. So you technically cannot love your neighbor well unless you first love yourself well. So until you get your self-worth figured out, until you realize that like you're a child of God, you're important, you're valuable, you matter, you're worth it, you cannot love those around you well. You're unqualified. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. You cannot love others well until you first love yourself.
Oh, nicely stated, really. And it actually reminds me of a sweat lodge I do. And it's a community sweat lodge. And everyone's invited. It's just in some guy's backyard.
Nice.
A house, just a nice suburb. And they built out this beautiful sweat lodge. And I remember the first time I went there, what was that? Not even maybe 4 months ago. Yeah. They talked about what it was going to be like. So I had to show up early. So one of the guys went through, okay, here's what coming into the sweat lodge is like. Here's what we go through. And one of the things that they talk about first is for the first door. So what they mean by doors before they open it back up. So when they close the door, it's dark in there. You have the hot stones. And they put water for various prayers and everything too. And it's a very open spiritual lodge, and anything you want to say can be said. The first door or the first round was prayers for self. And I thought that was so unique. And then you do prayers for others, and then there's a meditation and other things and for the other doors. But the first door being prayers for self. And I asked him afterwards, so that's very unique. And why is it done that way? He's like, well, you have to take care of yourself first before you can help take care of others. And I thought that was such a interesting statement. And they also do sweat lodges for, the teenagers in the neighborhood too, and other kids. And they said is one of the big reinforcements for them is that, a lot of times we hear always give. But what about us? And when we're not in a state to be able to give, or if we try to give something when we're just already depleted, it's not going to be the same level. And it was just a fascinating route to say, that's what they needed to learn was they just need to learn, hey, there's an element of taking care of self that builds out self-confidence, that self-worth. And that actually extends, I say, nicely to another topic wanted to talk to you about is, physical health and nutrition and strength, and how that brings into self-confidence and self-worth, and how that can really tie into not only taking care of yourself, but how that enhances your ability to help others and support others too.
Yeah.
And so please.
Yeah, that's it. We can go. There's so many different directions we can go. So there's the practical application, there's the mental piece of it. So let's hit practical, and then you might have to rein me back in, and we'll see where we are from there. Yep. But, practically speaking, talking about working out, talking about eating good foods, in terms of like, what does that do for your self-confidence and your self-worth? So the first thing is your physical body actually changes, and you actually start to like the way that you look. And when you like the way that you look, turns out that's pretty good for your confidence and your self-worth. So that's a big glaring thing, the one that can kind of smack you in the face. And it's like, oh yeah, if I actually like the way that I look, I feel better about myself. That is actually important. Some people are like, no, that's not. No, it's actually important to feel good. It's good to feel good. So that's the first piece. The next piece I would say in terms of nutrition is your body very much reacts differently to different foods and different nutritions. If you're eating a bunch of junk and you're eating a bunch of processed trash, your body will actually feel like processed trash. If you are eating good quality food, eat it the way the good Lord made it is kind of the way that I put it. And that's, whether you're eating meat, vegetables, carbohydrates, whatever you're looking at, it's just these good quality whole foods. Stuff that hasn't been, pumped full of chemicals and uber processed to stay on the shelf for years, whatever that looks like. When you're putting that good fuel into your body just, it reacts on a completely different level. You think about, putting the best gasoline that you can find into a sports car versus, dumping some kind of trash in it. Which way is it going to run better? It's going to run better on that good fuel. You have to give it good fuel in order for it to run well. Your body is the same way. You are going to be able to think more clearly if you're eating good food. You're going to be able to have more energy. You're going to feel good. That brain fog that you have throughout the day is not going to be there. It's going to be non-existent, or it's going to be severely limited. And if it's still there, there's other things that we need to talk about. But that's some of the physical, just like legit, you can see the difference when you're eating well and when you're exercising. Your body was made to move. We think about how humans have survived for, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years. It really wasn't until, when we look at like history as a whole, it wasn't until recently that we sat on our butts for the majority of our day. Like, we were out farming, we were out hunting, we were out doing that. We were physically active because we had to be in order to survive. Like, that's a piece of human history that might not be the best thing, that we've gone away from that for the most part now. So now we have to manufacture that hardship, and we have to go exercise. People 300 years ago did not have to exercise. Like, they were out doing stuff all day long. They were literally exercising their bodies all day. It was just normal for them. So now we have to kind of go in this manufactured state of like, okay, I actually don't move all day now, and now I have to go push my body and do those things. So God made our bodies to move, and they act better, they function better when we move them. So that's some of the physical stuff. Is there some of the mental aspect that you want to get into as well?
Well, I think one thing that you mentioned earlier of just what we do when we put ourselves into more of that physical state, getting healthier, our nutrition, our mental state's clear. To me, like, we also bring a sense of presence when we're able to just feel our bodies actually in a better state. We're able to bring that presence with others. I just wanted to tie that together of, hey, why is there a focus on a bit of self and making sure our physical health is there, our nutrition's dialed in as much as we can too. And I mean, like you stated, it can be pretty basic that we just need to stick to and rudimentary. We don't need to do all these fad diets and weird things that are out there. It's mostly just, hey, they're natural fruits and vegetables, meats, those types of things, and keep it to that level. But also when we do that, our mind's clear. We don't have fog. We don't, brains aren't running low on energy. We don't react as harshly. That is a sense of being there for others through just physical health focus. Do you want to dive a bit more with how keeping this discipline, this routine too, from a sense of physical health and building a healthy foundation? We've tied, I think, some nice bows around presence, bringing that in and supporting others when we take care of our body. but also diving a bit more into the routines, the things of how that helps and how we optimize that. And also when we do bring in that element as we continue our journey of growth and healing and all those types of things too, as a part of this, what things we start to see and what changes and evolutions in ourselves we start to see.
Yeah. So in terms of routines being helpful, we're in January. So this is the time of year when everybody decides that like it's going to be a whole new me this year. Like I'm changing my entire life yesterday. I'm all of it's done. Like I'm done with all of it right now. And I love the gusto and I love the excitement of the new year and people being so excited to be like, this is it. Like, this is the year for me. And what I want to say to them specifically is please don't try to change everything at one time. It's not healthy. It's not sustainable. It's not setting you up for success. What it's doing is setting you up to fail in 2 to 3 weeks or a month from now. And being another statistic in February that fell through on their January New Year's resolution. So my advice there when it comes to building habits and building routines is just start small. Like you need to pick one, I would say pick one thing. You can go two if you're feeling crazy, but I would say pick one very simple thing that you can focus wholeheartedly on, that you can move the needle on. And so something simple like hydration. The vast majority of us are walking around dehydrated all of the time. That, attributes to your brain fog, that attributes to your energy levels and how you feel, and that headache that you feel at the end of the day that makes you think you need to go grab your 10th cup of coffee. 9 times out of 10, you're extremely dehydrated. So that's the first piece that I tell a lot of people to focus on. Is like, it's January 1 and you want to get healthy? Awesome. I want you to drink, truthfully, I want you to drink a gallon of water a day. But if that feels like insane to you, then start at 64 ounces. Like start at half a gallon. Hit that for 2 weeks and see how you feel. And then up it to a gallon. And then hit a gallon for 2 weeks. And do it every day. And it's not going to be perfect, but start there. And then once you get that habit done, then you can add something else. Then it's like, okay, well, I eat fast food for breakfast and lunch. Okay, well, let's adjust that. Let's pick something else for breakfast or lunch, whichever is going to be easier for you to win first. And let's have a good meal for breakfast or lunch. Then the other one, you can still have your fast food on. Let's build that habit. Okay, let's do that for 2 or 3 weeks. All right, we're seeing some results. We start to feel better. Cool. Now let's adjust lunch. Dude, I'm talking little steps at a time. Because when you look at the grand scheme of things, if you start stacking these little things and you start picking these habits and like by the time you add a new habit, the one that you did 3 weeks ago is already your normal life now. Bro, in 3, 4, 5, 6 months, you have a brand new life. And you did it in a way of like, this is just normal you now. Like it's no longer, oh, I did all these crazy things to change my life. It's like, no, I took one step at a time. And now in a 6-month time span, I've completely changed my life, my lifestyle. I'm a completely new person instead of like, dadgummit, I was going to change everything January 1 and now it's February and I fell off the wagon and it's not fun anymore and the momentum's gone and I'm sick of it and I'm just not going to do it anymore. And now you're going to wait another 11 months to try again because you probably feel shame, which is understandable because as humans, that's what we feel when things don't go perfectly because we have these unrealistic expectations of like, dude, you've been eating like crap for 10 years. Like in 1 month, you're not going to be able to adjust that. Like, I don't care who you are. I'm sorry. It's not sustainable. It's okay to go small. Like we despise these small beginnings when in general, or like in reality, the people that have succeeded doing this succeeded because they took it this much at a time. Itty bitty little bites, and they started stacking those habits and stacking those wins. And then all of a sudden they woke up and their lifestyle is completely different. And people are like, holy crap, how'd you change your life overnight? You're like, I did. I've been stacking these tiny habits for the last 6 months. And now all of a sudden it's like, wow, I'm a new person. And now you don't want to go back. Now you have no desire to go back because you've tasted the fruit and you know how it feels to feel healthy. And you're like, I ain't never going back to that version of me. I didn't like him then. I feel good now. Like I'm actually acting well now. I'm showing up better for my wife. I'm showing up better for my kids. I'm productive at work. I feel good about myself. Like it's game over then.
Yeah. You're on soul time, not clock time.
Absolutely, man. We put these unrealistic expectations on ourselves, and we think, like, we see this picture on social media or on Instagram of some dude that's been in the gym relentlessly living his life by this code for the last 15 years. And we're like, I need to look like that guy. And if I'm not perfect like him, I'm not good enough. It's like, dude, he didn't get there overnight. Did not get there overnight. He still struggles. I guarantee you that guy still eats too many Twinkies occasionally. He's not going to tell you about it, but it still happens because he's a human being. Mm-hmm. So stop putting unrealistic expectations on yourself and start setting yourself up for success, and give yourself some damn grace in the process.
Yeah. Yeah. It's something I want to ask you and dive a little bit deeper into too. And it's one of the reasons too I wanted to bring you on this podcast is definitely the spiritual side. And just it brings a lot of fascination to me. Is when we do the routines, these habits, rituals, we slowly develop in a way, to me, it's a way of respecting your own spirit, your own soul when we do these things. And not just the physical health, but I believe that deeper inside of us, we crave a certain discipline, a certain routine. And a lot of times it does fall within a physical health aspect because a lot of stuff usually is like, okay, yeah, drink water right when I get up in the morning, go do a workout or move for 20 minutes, whatever it might be. Just having a nice basis and foundation for us to springboard from the day, just with a couple of small tweaks like that. But going back, I was hoping if you want to, what your thoughts are on having discipline and having a routine and how that also just strengthens you from within. And how it also is a sense of respect. At least that's how I view it.
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. So I got an idea. I want to read this real quick. If I can read this, give me 2 seconds. This is one of my favorite verses, if I can find it. Here we go. Okay. This is Hebrews 12. Chapters, I believe it's verse 11 through 12. So at the time, all discipline seems a cause not for joy, but for pain. Yet later, it brings the peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who are trained by it. So strengthen your drooping hands and your weak knees. Make straight paths for your feet, that what is lame may not be dislocated, but healed. So verse 11, at the time, all discipline, basically discipline sucks. That's what it's saying. Discipline sucks in the short term, but it brings the peaceful fruit of righteousness. Discipline and self-control are biblical principles. So there is a piece of us that is drawn to them. We can take it to, we go from Jesus to Jocko. We can take it to Jocko Willink. His discipline equals freedom. Like when we think discipline, it's almost kind of cringy. Like we just, if I'm disciplined, that means I'm like withholding something from myself. That means that I'm telling myself no in a certain aspect. And while that is true, that's the short term. The short term is you have to tell yourself no. You have to do things sometimes that you don't want to do. But the long-term effects are awesome. The long-term effects are you have a body that you like. You have a body that functions well and that you're stewarding well and that you're taking care of well. You have mental clarity. This comes into business. You've built a business because you've had the discipline and the self-control to continue to move forward, or you have a thriving marriage, or you have a wonderful relationship with your kids. Like all of that stuff comes from discipline. None of that stuff is without discipline. In order to have a thriving marriage, you have to constantly date your wife. You have to communicate well with her. You have to continue to learn her. That stuff doesn't happen by you just sitting there and watching your marriage go by. In order to have an excellent relationship with your kids, you have to get down on their level and you have to spend quality time with them, which means you have to come home from work and do that specifically, not just sit on the couch, or like you have to say no to that buddy that wants to go grab drinks after work. Like whatever it is, there's a level of discipline to that because it's something that you have to stick with and it's something that you have to do intentionally. Same way when it comes to taking care of self. Same way when it comes to taking care of yourself mentally and spiritually. Like your mentality and your spirituality is a muscle, just like your physicality is. Like you have to actively do things to make them better. Otherwise, they don't get better. That stuff doesn't get better by itself, just like your physical body doesn't get better by itself. Each piece of your life that is important to you, in order for you to improve it, you have to have discipline and self-control in some way. Now, the temptation is, specifically my temptation, so I know it's probably other guys' temptations too, is this perfectionism. Like, I'll get stuck in a loop of like, if I can't do the thing perfectly, then I'm not going to do it at all. And that is counterintuitive. Discipline and self-control is not perfection. Discipline and self-control is, you know what? I fell down. Now I'm immediately going to get back up. And I'm going to do the same things better next time. And I'm going to get feedback because I didn't do this well this time. But I'm going to continue to move forward, and I'm going to keep going. Now we're getting more into perseverance. But it's this ebb and flow of like, discipline does not mean perfection. Discipline just means that you continue to make those good decisions over and over and over again, and you continue to live with intentionality.
Beautifully stated. And I think one of the best places and easiest places, of course, is what disciplines do we put upon ourselves for our own self-help, our own self-health even. And it's actually, I mean, I would argue that doing the self-health, though seems very difficult, is actually one of the easier ones, because that's what we get to control most of, what goes into our mouth, what we do for movement each day. Our choices are there and not highly regulated or dependent as much upon other things. And I do believe, a lot of the actions for other routines, of course, require you to take that action, but also a good way to start learning is to focus on, once again, even physical health, because that perseveres into all these other flows of life, or can, and give you a good foundation towards that.
Yeah. And it's such a good, like you feel, it's such a good starting point, because it is 100% your control. What you put in your mouth, how you move your body, like, that's 100% your control. It just is. Like, if you disagree with that, I'm sorry, you're wrong. I love you. It's in your control. And then, but that it coincides with everything else. So if you can start there, that discipline, the discipline that you build in maintaining a workout routine and maintaining good nutrition, just like, it just moves over into every other aspect of your life. Like, you can build it in the gym and with your nutrition, and then all of a sudden you're more disciplined at work. All of a sudden you're more disciplined in your marriage. All of a sudden you're more disciplined with your kids, with your community, like, because you've made yourself a person who is good at being disciplined by being disciplined with this one thing. And also, you start to see the wins. Like, being disciplined in your marriage takes some time for you to see the results of that, especially if you're not in a good place. If you're talking like discipline with your body, yes, it still takes time. But if you work out for a week solid and you eat pretty well for a week solid, you're going to feel good. Like, by the end of that week, you're going to feel good. You might not feel like you want to feel, but you're going to feel better. So you start, it's that dopamine hit of like, I'm doing this and I'm winning, and I start to feel the momentum. So that's why it's so important. Like, it's such a good place to start. Because when we're changing things and adjusting things, having those little wins and feeling that momentum along the way is super important in us being able to persevere and continue to move through those things.
Perfect. So Sean, I really, I've enjoyed our conversation thus far, but I feel like there is a incredible story of your feats here too, of how you come to be the man you are, the level of spirituality that you bring, but also the level of, your own routines and disciplines that have brought you to this place too. So I was hoping, if you could share your story a bit more with us, and how you got to here being this incredible man in front of us.
Man, I appreciate the kind words. So let me ask this. Do you want to go more personal or more professional? We can go both. They'll both kind of coincide a little bit. Which would you
I'd say let's do personal as it starts to blend into professional. I think, yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So personal, we'll just start like ground zero. I was blessed to have awesome parents growing up. So I know not everybody got that. So that was just, it was a cheat code in life, truthfully. And so I had an awesome upbringing, awesome, like Jesus was a big part of our household. It was just modeled for me every day through the way that my mom and dad lived. And that was just a huge blessing. So knowing that up front, I'm going to hit the cliff notes here. Went through high school, went through college, dealt with normal young dude stuff in high school and college, and then got out of college and started working a corporate job. And my wife and I were dating at that time. We started dating as I was getting into college. She was getting ready to start high school. And so we were long distance the entire time. So 5 years. We dated for 5 years. We were long distance the whole time. So I say that to say that really strengthened us in terms of like, we had to learn how to communicate well with each other through that process, because we didn't see each other, but once every couple of weeks. And so that was a really hard thing, but it was also a really good thing, because I think it helped us to start our marriage on a good foot, because it was like, wow, we were just so excited we got to be with each other. That was an awesome way to start our marriage. So we got married, and we had some just difficult life things. I was working, working my corporate job, and didn't love it, but I was doing the quote unquote right thing. I wanted to start a family. I had the safe job. My wife was in school at the time. And then, fast forward a little bit, we got pregnant with our first son. And when that happened, it kind of pushed me mentally a little bit, because I was like, I have a mouth to feed, like another mouth to feed, and I need to bring in more income. My wife and I agreed that she would stay home with kids. And so I was like, okay, this is on me. I've got some work to do. And so I started a side business at that point. And I was like, I got to make some extra income. So I had some construction background, and I started kind of a small little handyman business, just doing jobs on the side, in order just to bring more income for our family. So had our first son, just loved every minute of like becoming a dad and what that looked like, but also quickly realized that created a complete different level of, I want to say stress, but also stress like within my marriage, because it was no longer just two adults that were enjoying, hanging out with each other and having a good time. Now it was two adults that were severely sleep deprived, with a newborn that neither one of them knew what the heck to do with, because we'd never been parents before. Both of us had been around babies, but it was like, it's a lot different when you're in charge of taking care of this child and making sure that they eat and they sleep and they're healthy and all of the things all of the time. So that was a big adjustment. It's one of those things that, people tell you all the time. It's like, oh, it's different when you have kids. It's like, it is, but you don't know that until you have them. It's just like being married. You can get all the marital advice that you want in the world, but until you're married, it really doesn't matter, because you don't know what it means. And then you get married and you're like, wow, this is not the easy rainbow road that I was expecting, when when my spouse and I fell in love. So, we were learning how to be parents, learning how to be married, while being parents, and what that looked like. And just going through kind of the rough patches of what that means. And, I struggled, the emotions that I struggled with the most were probably, my temper. Like I would get worked up and get bent out of shape, and, put lack of sleep with that. And it was just like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to fix it. I didn't want it to be that way. But that was something that I struggled with. And so like through this period of growth and us just kind of struggling in life, it wasn't like we were going to get divorced in a week or anything. It was just, we were having a hard time. And I'm thinking through this. I'm like, there's more to marriage than this. There's got to be something else. So I started kind of looking into like, how do I grow as a man, and, how do I make my marriage better? And like, I'm searching this kind of through like podcasts and books and things of that nature. And I came across this podcast, and, I listened to it, and it was a pastor, and he was talking about the man's job in leading the home. and leading his family and leading his wife as a Christian man. And I was like, okay. And like, I'm listening to this guy talk, and this is stuff that I've never heard in Sunday school. Like, this is biblical stuff. Like, he's pointing me to it in the Bible. But it's almost like, this is what I've been missing. This is like, I wanted to learn how to be a good Christian man, and I wasn't learning that in church. And so when this guy starts talking, I'm hearing it, and I'm like, this is what I've been after. And then he's talking about smoking a cigar on the back deck and riding his motorcycle on the weekends. And I'm like, I've never met a pastor that sounds this freaking cool, but this sounds like a guy that I would like to hang out with. So anyway, I listen to the podcast. It's awesome. I started Google searching, I'm like, who is this guy? Find out that this guy runs a mentorship and a coaching program. And I'm like, okay, I need to find out what this is about. And so, I started looking into him, and I kind of go through the process. I talked to him on the phone a couple of times, and long story short, I ended up going into his coaching program. And so this is the first time I invested in myself in terms of like mentorship or coaching. And so I go through that program, and Phil, I'm talking like light bulbs are going off in my head. I'm like, this is what I've been missing. Like, there's godly masculine brotherhood here, and accountability, and men that want to improve their lives. And I have been searching for that, and I didn't know where to look or where to find it, because I keep hearing in all this self-help stuff, you're the sum of the 5 people you hang around. And I'm like, that's so cool. Tell me where the heck to find them, because I don't know. Like, I'm not going bar hopping at night. I'm not doing these, like, I'm not in bad places, but I'm not finding these guys that have the drive and the ambition to do better in their life. Where are they? And I get into this group, and I find out quickly that they invested to be in the room, just like I invested to be in the room. And now it's like, okay, these guys are on another level. These are the guys that I want to spend time with, because these guys are after improving their lives, improving their walk with Christ, becoming a better man and a better husband and a better father. That's what I'm after, and that's what these guys are doing. So that was my first experience in like coaching and mentorship. And so through that process, I started kind of thinking through entrepreneurship, because entrepreneurship was something I had always thought about. Like, corporate work was never my cup of tea. Even growing up, even like, working for someone, I was always of the mindset of like, eventually I will work for myself. I have no idea what that'll look like, but eventually that's what I'm going to do. And I kind of felt like, since I had a family and had kids and had responsibilities, I was like, I've missed the boat. Like, I'm not going to be able to do this anymore. Because you kind of grow up with this, like, taking risk is for before you have kids. Taking risk is for before you have responsibilities. And so that was kind of gut wrenching to me on one side. And then I joined this group of men that are doing big things. And I start to grow in my confidence as a man and as a leader, and in my walk with Christ. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. There's another level to this Christianity, to this masculinity, to this manhood thing. And so I just continue to go down that path. And, through this growth is when I start to realize that, no, I can still go after the dreams that God has put in my heart. I can still go take risks, calculated risks. I'm not talking about doing crazy junk, but it is crazy in terms of like world standards. But there is something inside of me that God has placed inside of me that is more than me just going to a quote unquote safe job day in and day out, hating it, and it not providing for my family in the way that I want to financially provide for them. So I know we're a little bit all over the place there, but that was kind of my growth in terms of like how I've gotten to the place of, I've started a business and successfully run it for the last year. And, I have a thriving marriage and, a great relationship with my kids. Like it's, and I don't say those things to brag. It's just, I've put in the work to kind of come to that place, and I haven't arrived. Like there's lots more to do, and there's still a lot of work to be done, and I plan to improve it every day. But in terms of like where we are right now, that's a brief overview of where we are now.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that story. And it really gives heed to the man you are today and how you're showing up, and really that's everyone's journey. Is all you need to do is just show up today. And, I know we talked about routines, habits, disciplines, but also that presence part and what you bring, but also the opportunities you take. Meeting this incredible pastor, and going into his men's group and just seeing this huge, just seems like branch into the direction and right place that you wanted to go into, and the place that felt right for you, things that you felt that aligned, to something a bit higher than you as well, something greater than you. And that is something, that is just always a fascinating place too, is when we start seeing this branch, start seeing this place, and we get the call, we get that hero's journey start. Will you take that path? Will you take that risk to go into that call? Because that call is coming from a different place, a higher place other than you. And it just aligns. I'm sure as part of this journey too, there has been a lot of places of where you had to explore some depths with the changes that you had to make in routines and changes you had to make in your discipline to now start going to this group, to actually push yourself to go see this man, to allow him to, sounds like it became a mentor.
Yeah. Yeah, wholeheartedly. And I think, and I hit this, Phil, at the very beginning, but we were also talking about this off camera. It's going to that place of actually being honest with where you are. That's the biggest unlock. Like I've even talked to some of the guys that I'm close with, and we've had these conversations of like, I don't have time, nor do I have the desire to have quote unquote BS conversations. Like, Phil, you and I were talking before, and it's like, if I ask you how you are, I genuinely want to know how you are. Like, I don't want to hear the bullshit line of like, oh, things are wonderful and I'm great, and then find out you get divorced a month later. Like, I'm not interested in that. I don't have time to listen to that. Like, I just don't care to. Like, if you want to go feed that to somebody else, that's fine. But when I ask the question of, hey, bro, how are you doing? I would genuinely want to know how you're doing. And it's this place of honesty. And man, you can't make any changes. You can't experience any growth. You can't make anything better until you're actually flipping honest with where you are currently, like brutally. And it's not to open this like shame within you. It's none of that. It's just like, okay, now we know where we actually are. Awesome. Now you can start. Now you can move the other direction. Like if you're 100 pounds overweight and you're telling yourself you're 25 pounds overweight, you're not doing anybody any favors. Like you're not changing the outcomes. You're not changing where you currently are by telling yourself a lie. All you're doing is making it slower for you to change and making it like harder for you to change because you're going, oh, I'm just 25. It's like, no, bro, you're 100 pounds overweight. You need to lose 100 pounds. Like, be real about it. There's no shame in it. You're not changing it by saying I'm only 25. Like we think that if we admit to the things that we're struggling with, people are going to look down on us, when in reality, it's quite the opposite. The vast majority of the time, if you have someone that you trust and they genuinely ask you like, how are you doing? What are you struggling with? And you tell them, they're like, oh, wow, this dude just actually got honest with me and I respect the heck out of him for it. It's more often that than it is like, oh my gosh, this guy is having a hard time with what? Like people are far less judgmental than you think they are. Mm-hmm. And now the flip side of that is if they are actually judgmental, you need to hang out with different people. Like that's the other side of the coin. Like if you go tell, you go tell a bro that you think is a bro and you're like, man, I'm really struggling with this. And he's like, bro, don't tell me that mess. Like, I don't want to know what you're struggling with. You need to go find new friends. Yeah. So little caveat there, but it's just this, we have got to get honest as men, as people, but particularly as men with where we are with each other. Like, Phil, when I ask how you're doing, I genuinely want to know. If there's something that you're struggling with that I can help you with, or I can speak into, or I can pray over, I genuinely want to know. Not to judge you. Bro, I have sins. You have sins. We have sins. It's a problem. Like, it is what it is. But we're not meant to go through this life alone thinking we have to, oh, I'm a man, I got to handle my shit. Like, bro, stop with that bravado garbage. Like, yes, you need to be masculine. Yes, you need to handle your stuff. And also call a brother that you trust and lay it on him with how you're actually doing and where you actually are, so that he can help you carry that burden, because you are not meant to carry those burdens alone.
Nicely stated. It actually inspired something inside of me too, that we were talking about the conversational piece. A big miss in society, and even especially in men that I've encountered and helped and coached, is how the hell do we communicate well? So I'll explain a little bit more. You ask the question of how are you? Genuine, answer of good, fine. The things that we forgotten about to add depth or to open up and add that. But also, the other part I was thinking on when you were explaining, how are really, or how, when we go in and add that depth, like you want to know. And I respond with well, this is actually how I am. Some folks may find that almost in a way like they don't know how to respond. They're like, oh, you just gave me a giant list. Yeah. For instance, a real thing is today, the day that we're recording, it's 2 years since my nephew's passed. And I told you at the beginning before we started recording, like, yeah, I'm going through a couple of bits today, a couple of things of hardships, but moving through. The other thing that made me think upon this is when we hear that kind of response, some of us, our heart might sink when we're like, oh, wow, I just heard something real. One of the things when it comes to that communication side too, you can respond back, especially we as men, we want to say, oh, let me help you. How can I help you? Well, I didn't want to help. I don't need that right now. I just wanted to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, you can ask me, hey man, do you want me to help you? Or do you want to just be heard? Or heck, if you're in person, do you just want a hug?
Mm-hmm.
So being able to say back, even I know is a key part in relationships too. It's like, I hear what you just said. Do you want me to continue to just listen and be here and be present with you and absorb the emotions that are coming from this, or just be there with you in that emotion? Do you want me to help you with anything on this? Do you want me to help you to solve the problem maybe you were having at work, or this person that was pushing upon you in the story that you were telling me? Or do you want a hug, or do you want all three, or a combination of things? I think that's a big part that's missing, is the quality of conversation coming back is, and in men, we just want a logic. We want to help. We want to support. We want to feel needed and helpful, and useful.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I love that you brought that up. I think honestly, for us, I think it's, if you have to have a default, I think default is like, hear them. Like, hey bro, I'm really sorry that you're going through that. What can I do? Like, you can ask that question. What can I do? Or it's just, because most of the time, the vast majority, because like you said, Phil, we as guys, like, we logic everything. We're problem solvers. We fix things. It's literally what it's God made us that way. It's a good thing. And also, like, it can get us in trouble, because I don't need you to fix all my problems. I don't want you to fix all my problems. Most of the time, I probably have a good idea of what I need to do. Sometimes, for lack of a better term, I just, like, I need to emote. Sometimes I need to bitch. Like, there is some of that going on sometimes, because we don't, as guys, most of the time we keep it all bottled up inside. And there's a nuance to that in terms of, like, you don't need to go emote to your kids and your wife all the time, because they're not another man. Men and women are created differently, and there are certain pressures that men hold that women were not built to hold, not because they're less valuable, but because God made them different. And so there are certain things, like pressures, that you feel as a man that you need to talk to other men about. And I think that's a big missing piece right now is, even if we do emote too much, because there is another ditch to the side of the road. It's like, if you go and you overshare and you emote and you just spew your guts and your emotions to your wife and to your kids, that's not healthy. It's not healthy for your marriage. It's not healthy for your kiddos. I'm not saying that you're keeping secrets from your wife. That's not what I'm saying. But there is a certain level of wisdom in terms of how you share things. And if you're, let's just take I lose my job. Let's take that example. If you get fired and you get in your car, you get in your truck to drive home and you're freaking out, you do not need to call your wife and freak out on the phone with her. That will do nothing but add stress and pressure to her, and it's not good and it's not healthy. Now, if you call another guy, you call one of your buddies, one of your bros, and you're like, bro, I just lost my job. Like, you can lose it on him. Absolutely lose it. Be 100% honest, raw, where you're at, like what you're going through, what you're feeling. That will affect him 0%. He will hear you. He will listen to you. And then he's going to go, all right, bro, cool. What's the plan? What's the next step? What are we going to do from here? And then after you have that conversation, then you can call your wife and you can go, baby, I got some news today. I lost my job. This is what I'm doing. Boom, boom, boom. I lost my job, but we're going to be okay. I'm doing this, this, and this. You take that instead of going, oh my gosh, babe, I lost my job. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Like those are two completely different conversations, and they're going to have a vast different impact on your wife when you have them.
Yeah. And actually I was just on my buddy's podcast earlier this week recording, and something came up that was definitely ringing into this, which was containers that we put things in. First off, the container of that conversation with our buddy, what's our intention when we come in with that? And it's not the one with the job loss, but just like when we ask that, how are you? Mm-hmm. Oh, good. We just keep it general. You went in with an intention of, I don't really care to get to know you more. I don't really want to know you more. And it may sound evil because it's not. I know that may not be true. And it most likely isn't in most cases because you really do. But it's that, you're just coming in, saying hi. Okay, cool. Let's talk sports. Let's talk this. But going to the more example that you just brought up of, I just lost my job. I am freaking out. Well, the container that you've created with your wife, and, beautiful one it may be, how you share, you just broke all the rules and the intention that you created with her by punching through from the bottom of this thing and going straight from emotion without it letting it actually permeate you first, because you're outsourcing this emotion rather than letting it permeate you. And I believe, also when you reached out to your buddy kind of thing, you actually were finding a place to say, hey, letting this permeate first. I just need this explosive side to come out. Or even it means that you just need to take a minute for yourself before you come home and open that door. They just explode open this whole thing of, well, I created this safety, this container, this whole component is now just been erupted, completely destroyed. No. To say, okay, how can I bring this in? I do still want to bring the feeling and emotion. I want to just come in and say, yep, I'm just going to be a zombie wide open. Yeah, I lost my job. That won't hit land either.
Of course.
But the container that you've created, that incredible space to share, and that now it's allowed to permeate you can bring in still that sense of groundedness, but still that sense of support that you still need too within that container that has been created.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I mean, you've got to let it sink in for you. And then, like you said, we're not, essentially, if you're taking that and going to your wife and freaking out, you were talking about punching from the bottom up. You're essentially saying in that moment, like, all of this pressure just got dumped onto my shoulders. I don't want it. Will you hold it? Like, that's essentially what you're doing. And I know it's not intentional. Like, that's not your intention. It's just, that's the reality of the situation. Like, if you're coming to her freaking out, that creates this leadership vacuum. And she's like, I have to fill this. Like, you're not leading me right now. I have to fill this vacuum. And so I have to be the calm one. And like that eventually can get very unhealthy. Now, I'm not saying we don't ever just like go out and like, we're human, we're people, like it's okay. But if you're doing that all the time, then you are not leading yourself. You're not leading her. You're not leading your family well. And eventually that vacuum will get filled up because she's going to feel like she has to. Because she's like, this guy can't regulate his emotions. This guy is freaking out. So somebody in this relationship has to step up and emotionally regulate and lead on where we're going. And it ain't him and he ain't doing it. And so that's when you really get into a unhealthy dynamic between the two of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I mean, yeah, like you said, sometimes it does just hit us. Sometimes news just hits us like a rock, and we're just going to break down right there.
Of course.
That happens. And I think that's a very good distinction, that if you're doing this all the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
we just don't want that to be the
work,
norm.
and I just come right back home with that. Ooh,
Exactly.
You just broke some of the contract that you set forth with your family, your wife, this and that. Is I'm going to be a man of presence, groundedness, source of strength, and creating a place of safety for you, I think are some key elements. But you're coming back every day or every week even with some new stress and going straight to explosion. And you're breaking that contract.
Yep.
Consistently. And only so many repairs you can do.
Yeah. Eventually it becomes the norm. And it's like, as we were talking about the leadership vacuum, like eventually she's going to fill it up. And, you know, we're talking about the difference in like how men and women are created. Like women desire to feel safe. Women desire to feel loved. Women desire to feel cherished. If you are unloading all of these things on her, it automatically is saying, this man is not safe. This man is not providing this safe covering of protection over me because he can't control himself and he can't control his emotions. So when you talk about like really breaking it down, that's really what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we could definitely dive in a whole topic about creating that element, but it actually does tie in a way back to routine, back to that level of ritual too. It's, you know, the routine of maintaining that place, of how you decided to create that safety for at home with your wife, with your kids, whoever, even just your own personal home, creating that routine of how can I make this place optimally safe and a protected place. And one of the course few things too is before I get home, before I do that, I'm going to try to reach out to my buddy. I need to talk to him because right now this is raw. This is hard. And I haven't allowed it to really permeate me. I haven't allowed it to be a bit more in a controlled manner and regulated. I haven't landed yet. So how can I do that? And that's definitely one of the things too. It's like what other routines and habits have we gotten into? Do we reach out to a buddy? Do we reach out to somebody that we could connect with? Do we maybe have a place of like, okay, no, I'm going to go hit the gym because I'm just full of anger right now and I have energy and I just need to move some weight. I need to go for a quick run, even if it's just some sprints, something like that. Once again, tying that all back to the physical side. It's just like something that you become now more in that discipline and that routine of how can I make sure wherever I come back to and I arrive in as best of a manner as I can. And yeah, very rare occasions, very rare, like happens a few times in our lifetime type occasion of where I just break down and I don't have that.
Yeah.
So a lot of ways summing a bit up of what we just discussed in that manner and that kind of thing, which I think is a nice place. A nice place for us, I believe, to pause as well, because I really enjoyed our conversation. And I swear if we don't pause now, we're going to keep going and going about, where we're starting to dive into. So, no, Sean, it's been a really great time. I do want to ask one last question here for you is for those that are listening and for men out there that you hope to get a message, what is a message or maybe a last parting piece of advice you want to give them?
So good, man. First of all, I've thoroughly enjoyed our time. Thank you for having me. And I'm with you. We could go on for a bit more here. So in terms of like parting words, the first thing that comes to mind for me, and this is something that I've needed to hear multiple times in my life, and we touched on it earlier, but it's just telling guys that they matter. Like, man, apart from your wife, apart from your job, apart from your kids, the king of, whether you're Christian or not, the king of the universe, the king of the world made you, and he decided that this world needed one of you. And apart from everything else that you do in your life, apart from your achievements, apart from how you're feeling, you matter. You're important. And taking care of yourself is not a selfish act, but it's actually a selfless one. So give yourself some grace. You're doing a heck of a job. Keep getting after it.
Nice. I love it. So Sean, how can men reach you? Website, social media?
So we're working on a website. The website it's getting there. It's close. It's very, very close. But yeah, for the time being, social media platforms, Instagram and TikTok and X is at the Sean McManus. And then on the old Facebook is at Sean McManus. So any of those, Instagram or Facebook are the two I'm most active on. But any of those platforms, shoot me a DM. Happy to have a chat. You know, it doesn't have to go any further than a chat, but depending on where you are, you know, if you're looking for like next steps, or, you know, you're just like, hey, this is where I'm at and I want to get better, but I don't know where to start, hit me up. I'd love to have a conversation.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for being on today. Really appreciate it. Appreciate the insights, and everything that we were talking about today. So thank you so much. Hope to have you back on.
It's been a pleasure, Phil. Thank you for having me, my man.
Thanks, Ron. Thank you, everyone.